Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I am Tina Patterson, Principal Attorney at Patterson Justice Council here in Detroit, Michigan. We are pursuing justice as our business. We help homeowners, property owners, and business owners protect their property, have their rights respected, and leave legacies to their lineage. We do this because we believe the law should be used as a tool for construction rather than destruction. I'm so happy April. Can't believe we're already in the month of April. This year has gone by so fast. Last month in March, we focused on Women's History Month and how legal issues affect women in a very unique way, but we also focused on a lot of the value that we have and that we need to fight for, what is truly valued in our lives, whether it be our homes, our families, other properties, and the future, things we can do with what we have now to create greater value in the future. So today we'll be discussing 3 common reasons why people often avoid taking action to solve their legal problems. And a lot of times people find these as kind of helpful. They think that by not doing this, they're actually helping themselves or they're saving something. They're really not. So many times these 3 factors are often hindrances, not very helpful at all. And again, giving into these reasons can cause more stress, actually. It can waste more time and energy, and possibly worst of all, which we will get into, it can cost more than they think they would be spending on professional legal help, because the sooner the situation is handled, the less is actually required to address it. So we'll get into all of that today. And without further ado, the 3 mistakes to avoid taking legal action. The 3 common factors that stop people from taking legal action are confusion, conflict, and cost. So first we'll start with confusion. So quite often people are just simply confused about their rights. They don't know where to start. The legal system is this big, ginormous maze that they get trapped into. They don't even know if they have a solution out there for the problem that they have. And so this confusion and complexity, yes, there is a lot of that there. And I think a lot of times it's actually intentionally done to deter people, to stop them, because that's what often ends up happening. It causes many people to become overwhelmed and frustrated, and they simply give in before starting, or they give up because it seems too difficult to take on. I even have clients now who, they reach that point of confusion and frustration. And as counsel, I have to just kind of, talk them down from it. Like, okay, yes, I understand, but this is why we're doing X, Y, and Z. This is our end goal. And there are many ways to get around it. Okay. But often people can't see what I'm seeing as a professional. They just see all these like tentacles, and they just think of themselves getting swallowed up in it. And it just is too much for them to even handle. And, that's where the confusion gives into frustration, overwhelm, doubt, fear, all of those things. And even those that do try to address the situation on their own quickly become confused in the Google searches, right? And, asking court personnel who will only tell you so much. They can't give legal advice. And this is because there are so many legal issues that do have complex answers. And so, and a lot of times, as attorneys, we may not do good jobs of explaining it very simply for someone to understand so that they're not overwhelmed, right? So when I speak to my clients, when I speak to my community, I'm not using a lot of technical legal jargon. I'm not on here trying to impress anyone. I'm just going to let you know this is what it is, this is what it's not, right? People have to be able to understand it clearly. And so because the confusion sets in and it gives way to these other feelings, so many people just stop and they don't even try to deal with it any further than the confusion. But this should not stop or deter anyone from seeing their solution through to the end, because it's simply a barrier. Okay, it's like a fence around a piece of property that you own. And you feel like you're being locked out of it because you don't have the key to open the gate. Like, the confusion is just the key. But it doesn't mean that you can never have access to that key. So don't allow this kind of fence to stop you from getting what is rightfully yours. Okay. The second most common factor is conflict. Many people are simply intimidated by or uncomfortable with conflict. So they prefer to kind of wait in peace and just live with the devastation in the meantime. There are many people who are just uncomfortable with confrontation. Many people who just would rather give up something in order to avoid that adversarial feel. They don't want to be fighting. They think they're being a peacemaker. Again, these seem like common, not common, but they seem like sensible, right? They seem like they can be helpful. Well, I'm not going to fight that battle because I could get hurt, or because I could lose something, or because my feelings, I just can't take it, right? So they just sit it down. But what's happening to you on the end, right? So I've had a case where there was someone who was getting unfairly targeted um, in a legal situation. They had no liability for these things, but the notices were just coming and coming and coming. And we were able to stop it and clear that liability for a little while. Okay. And again, I think we said this in a previous video, just because you get one win doesn't mean the battle is over. Okay. And a lot of times, if it is a higher institution, like a city government, like a financial institution, something that kind of has that muscle, they can be more aggressive. Okay. But that doesn't mean that they're right. So that's kind of what was happening in this case. And so we got the victory. We did. We got the one battle victory, but it wasn't over yet. So there was more coming. And I'm telling the person, hey, we already got this in our hands. All we need to do is just follow up in this way. But this is a person who does not like conflict, who does not like confrontation, and just didn't go with those guidances, right? Didn't go with those directions. And so I'm not going to force anybody, right? I'm the counsel. I'm going to advise you on what your options are, what the strategy is, why it would make sense for you, what your rights are. But ultimately, you as the client, you have the right to settle. You have the right to reject whatever's coming to you. You have to be on the board with it. I can't do it for you because it's not my case. I'm just representing you in the case. It's your issue. And so in this particular matter, the client didn't want to continue further, right? Because they just don't like confrontation. And if that's fine. But, in the legal arena, there are going to be adversaries. There's always going to be somebody put up against you. Okay. It's in the title of the case. It's plaintiff v, right? Defendant. The V is versus. There are going to be two sides. It's often very adversarial. It's often very combative. Doesn't have to be like, which so many different attorneys can take it to, the fight of the century. It doesn't have to be all that, okay? But there is going to be some conflict. There is going to be some tension, some confrontation. But we're able to handle that with skill, with precision, with professionality. It doesn't have to be rude. It doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be nasty. We're simply here to protect what your rights are, okay, what your interests are. And we're going to come to a solution with that. But, if you're the kind of person that is just, conflict is not in your heart, then that's okay. And, I don't force anything on anyone, but what you're going to live with is that battle still coming at you. Can you continue to live with that? Someone hammering at you for things you're not responsible for. Someone constantly nagging you if it's like a custody case or something when it comes to kids' rights, right? Or saying that you owe them this, you owe them that, but you never get the counsel to fight against that. Then you're just going to keep on going with that conflict and with that confrontation. How much peace do you have then, right? You think that you're creating peace for yourself by not responding and by not putting up your own defense mechanism, right? Not getting into the battle. But that doesn't mean that the battle is not ongoing. That just means that you're not fighting in it, but somebody's fighting you. So if that's what you would like to continue to do, I mean, please, by all means, it's your preference, but just know what you're giving up in order to keep what you think you're keeping, okay? And just from my opinion, that's not a winning strategy, only because you always remain reactive to your situation rather than proactive. This is your life, take control. That's just my philosophy. But again, if that's what somebody is, if that's what they prefer, that's what they prefer. I'm not going to push anything on anyone, but just a common trap that you do want to avoid because the hits are just going to keep on coming. Okay. And then the third common trap is cost. Okay. So too often people count themselves out even after trying to take on a matter by themselves because the cost of legal services or even the cost to get into court, the court fees themselves, they think they're too expensive. But again, what is the alternative? The alternative is to continue living with the pain caused by your legal issue. Is it losing time? Is it losing money? Is it losing sleep? Is it losing a home? Is it losing peace, right? Because somebody is constantly battling against you. These have all happened. All right. So we're going to get into a few, and we're going to talk about numbers today too. So before we do that, the case study I previously said, client who is continually getting hammered about some liabilities they don't owe. Okay, you're not paying anything, right, by hiring professional help. There's no money cost there. But how much is it costing you in just stress? Knowing that you're not responsible for something, but someone is continually hammering down, telling you that you are, and asking for, right, your money in the process. How much does that cost? Now let's talk about dollars, okay? And these are all real life scenarios. Some that I've consulted with, some I've had as clients, okay? So $0 in attorney fees, $10,000 judgment. That happened. Somebody that had a court case, did not secure an attorney, ended up getting hit with a $10,000 judgment. So how much did they really save, right? How much was the cost? How much did inaction cost? All right. And it's not to say that, oh, we can solve all the problems, just get a lawyer. No, that's not to say that. But so many times people don't even analyze the cost risk analysis from the beginning because they already count, professional services as too expensive. But you might end up paying a higher amount. This is just 10K. I've seen it at 100K. I've seen that. Okay. People that just never showed up, never had an attorney, and they get hit with a $100,000 judgment. That has happened. All right. So how much did inaction cost in that scenario? Another one that is even more potential. So again, $0 attorney fees. Tried to do a DIY legal services document. Fine. Didn't pay an attorney to do that. But what does it cost? $100,000 plus for a home that was unable to be sold because you didn't have the right paperwork in place. Because the paperwork you used from an online source was not legal, was not valid. So how much did that inaction cost? Let's say you just paid $1,000 attorney fees to do that, but you get $100,000 back in having that home sold. What is the cost there? Is it worth it then? Right? These are how we're not thinking. We're automatically thinking what I had to pay out, but we're not thinking about what I'll gain, right? And how much more it will be. Now let's talk about people that have paid out. $1,200 attorney fees. Oh my gosh, that's so much. But guess what you got in return? $25,000. Okay, this is a real life scenario. $1,200 attorney fees, $25,000 secured. Is that worth it? Right? If you were to give me $25,000, would I give you $1,200 for it? Yes. That's a less than 10%. Yes. Okay. And then another scenario that went both ways. So $0 attorney fees to start off, land taken by court judgment. So no, you didn't pay for an attorney, but you did pay with the land. You lost it. Okay. And then on the flip side, okay, went ahead, got an attorney, paid $3,000. Guess what? The land was taken back, and I have control of the land again. And how much is that land worth? The land that I own in perpetuity, that means forever, right? Certainly worth more than $3,000. So these are the common traps when we're talking about cost. We're always thinking about what we're going to pay out, and thinking that we're just going to be paying out and never getting anything back. We never think about what we're actually going to get back, that return on investment. Okay, so don't think of it as just a cost. It is an investment, and it's not an investment in me or any other lawyer or company. It's an investment in you, in maintaining your rights, getting back your property, securing it for yourself and for your future generations. That's what it's all about. All right. And then a little bonus to consider is credibility. And I've talked about this a lot before. So yes, you want to avoid the traps of confusion, of conflict, and then of cost. And so you're ready now to take on some professional assistance, and you're ready to handle your matter. You're not going to let these factors stop you. Employ an expert professional, because not just any lawyer will do. Okay. Seek legal counsel from a trained lawyer who's competent. There's another C word, competent, in the area that you are facing, and one who will fight for your best interests and ensure that your needs are going to be met. All right. Don't just defer to their professional acumen or what school they went to, but really, ask questions and get a feel for if this person is going to represent you the way that you want to be represented. All right. And talk to you like you are a valuable person, because you are, right? I don't talk down to my clients. I don't make them talk up to me, right? It's not about that. It's just about we're all humans here. We have emotions. This is what we're after, right? This legal issue. How can we tackle it in a way that's going to be beneficial for us, not only in securing our target and our goal, but just the stress around it? How can we eliminate that, right? What are the options? How can we not limit ourselves and even our options and our strategies? So make sure you get a good professional that's going to talk to you competently about the legal issue at hand, but also commonly as a human being with respect. Okay. So I hope this information is helpful and actionable. Um, Many people often don't know what to do or think that they, don't know anything about the law, the process. And again, they get intimidated into doing nothing. That doesn't help. Instead, avoid these common traps. Okay. Again, just think about what you want your legal issue as this beautiful property that you own. It's yours, but for some reason you've been locked out of it. Okay. Don't allow you being locked out of it um, prevent you from taking advantage of the beauty that is the home. Okay. And not just yours, but your generations to come. All right. So if you like this video, share it with a friend, like it on the channel, subscribe to the channel. We are live every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week is our Easter break. So we will be on break, but we'll be sure to post a video at our regular time, which is 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And maybe even a couple of more videos just to make up for it. Okay. All right. So until then, we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.